Hi, is this the Invisible Man 733 presents?
It most certainly is. Is this Mr. Shahid Ali?
Yes, it is.
And where are you at this moment?
I am in Mombasa, Kenya, the eastern coastal city on the Indian Ocean.
Could you repeat that?
I'm in Mombasa, Kenya, the
Slow down,
eastern.
slow down. We know
Sure, sure.
Mombasa. That's a very interesting word. Any idea what it means?
Not a clue.
Oh my goodness. Well, you'll find out.
Right.
Mombasa.
Yes, sir.
It sounds very powerful. Mombasa. Uh, and you said the Indian Ocean, and you're still in the country of Kenya.
I am.
Okay. Well, for those who don't know, this is a continuing series, Afrodescendant Travels, and we've been featuring Mr. Shahid Ali as he travels in Kenya. But I have an idea he'll probably travel other places. And today we're going to talk about Mombasa. I said it correctly?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's have a little music and then we'll talk.
Let's do it.
As I said, the music gets to playing, your blood gets to stirring. Something about music. But when I hear the term Mombasa, once
Mhm.
again, let me start out properly. This is the Invisible Man 733 Presents, and we are engaged in another adventure with Mr. Shahid Ali, who is presently in Kenya. He's gone from getting there, the capital city, Nairobi, and another city which was near a lake.
Mhm.
The name of the city, sir?
Kisumu.
Kisumu. Oh my goodness, sounds like a city here, Kissimmee, St. Cloud in Florida, maybe
Yeah, yeah. It does sound like it.
Kisumu. And now he is in Mombasa. Now, I had teased him and asked him, was he going to wear the shorts? And he's telling me that they're experiencing their winter there. And he's chilly, which not the chili that you eat. He's wearing a sweater. He's not wearing short pants in Africa. And
Mm-hmm.
now he has gotten his own spot, his apartment. But a listener had a very important question, if I may ask.
Okay.
All right. When you initially arrived on the continent, it's referred to as the continent, where we know we came from after a certain period of time. Here's the uh, burning question. Did someone pick you up from the airport? Who picked you up from the airport?
To the first question, yes, someone did pick me up at the airport.
Stop. Was that person a family relation?
You can say that,
No,
yes.
sir. You have to say that. This is a legitimate question.
Not a blood relative, but
Thank you.
something like a relative.
No, sir. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid specifics.
I don't need specifics. It's either it was a relative or it was not. So if
It
it
was
was not relative, it was a friend, somebody that you hired or something of that
It
nature?
wasn't someone that I hired.
Okay, it was
Just
a friend.
just not
That's
trying to reveal the
no,
extent
that's
of
fine.
the
It
relation.
was a friend. But here's the thing: we say this is a series on Afro-descendant travels, and
Right.
we have talked about what it is to be an Afro-descendant. So you are aware of the understanding of what it means to be an Afro-descendant because I consider you to consider yourself as being an Afro-descendant.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so that's why, as Afro descendants, unless you go through a certain process known as a DNA investigation, you cannot righteously reach out and say, oh, like we're talking now, and communicate with your relative. It has to be really great. And an interesting thing as I get off target even more, did you know that the famous author, Mr. Alex Haley, settled an out of court settlement with an author that he is supposed to have plagiarized his work?
I wasn't aware of the trial, but I
Mhm.
was aware that there was a dispute as to whether or not he wrote Roots and all of the subsequent books. So yeah, I was aware that there was some dispute, but not the legal part of it.
Well, you don't have to go to court to make a settlement. If Go ahead.
No, no, I'm listening.
No, that's my only comment. You can
Yeah.
accuse somebody of something, and they can settle with you out of court. Another famous name came to mind, and that would be the the gloved one. He was sued and later vindicated in court, Mr. Jackson.
Hmm.
And time again, courts have, said he didn't do what he had been accused of. But I got off track. I just don't know. It's early here. What time is it where you are?
It's 3 p.m.
Oh, and it's in the morning here. All right. So, Mombasa, you thought I had forgotten. I got carried away with a little personal story. So, no, if you did not get picked up by a relative, you really pretty much fit the Afro descendant description unless you have undergone a DNA investigation. By the way, sir, have you submitted to having your DNA checked and tried to find out where your relatives are on the continent?
I have not.
Really? Would you be surprised if the results said that your relatives were from Kenya?
Very.
Well, why do you say that? You don't see anyone walking around who looks like you?
I do actually, but historical data doesn't support that many Afro descendants descend from the eastern part of Africa.
You could be the exception. You're there now. Again, why did you choose Kenya as your starting point?
Kenya, wow, I've been here before, for one. Secondly, from pure logistical standpoint, it's a
Don't use big words on me. What does logistical mean?
logistical, meaning just the pathway to me establishing myself was easier than to start. Having been to a country like Ethiopia and Egypt in the past, one thing from a language standpoint, there's not much English spoken, so I think for Kenya, English is spoken widely. That's for one. And then secondly, me having been here and knowing and being familiar, two of the East African countries, Kenya is the most developed as far as roads and infrastructure. But you know, originally it wasn't the place that I would initiate the. Just I wouldn't be. It wouldn't be the. It wouldn't be the place that I would settle. It would just be the place that I'd start, and
Hmm.
then explore other places. So you know, it wasn't finally Kenya, but Kenya because I've been here, and you know, the English factor and pathway to through immigration and land ownership, just a bunch of factors why I
Well,
started.
well, who is her most famous resident?
Presently,
No, anytime that you can think of, or should I say
historic,
to some? Go ahead.
Jomo Kenyatta.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Is he more famous than this other person who I thought you might mention?
Well, you said resident. Yeah, so who were you thinking about?
Oh, me? I'm the
Hmm.
interviewer, not the interviewee. There's
Okay.
one other person when you mention Kenya, unless you are a historical person like you who has a very varied history of things, it would be the former president of the United States of America. And his name is, you,
Barack Obama.
I couldn't believe a beat went by. You're supposed to know immediately. But when I said famous, uh, as I said that, do you know in my mind, I actually said infamous? That,
Oh, okay. Okay.
that's my opinion. I would put him in the infamous category rather than famous. And that's because of his stand on the desire for Afro descendants to receive reparations. So you
Hmm.
used another word a moment ago. You said infrastructure that has been being bantied about. I like words bantied around, pushed around. What does infrastructure mean? Because
Uh,
you're a traveler and you have seen quite a few of them. I'm listening. Go ahead, sir.
I mean, it can be anywhere from the roads to buildings to transportation, just the just how it's just how the how a city or a place can be constructed versus just being pure wilderness. If I could just put it in layman terms like that.
Well, Kenya is very developed.
Yes.
You remember on one of the broadcasts, I asked you when you were Egypt and you were in Cairo, which is the capital city, right?
I think I don't know because
I believe
there's
it.
Alexandria, but
Alexandria.
I don't know. I have to
That's
double check.
debatable.
Huh?
That's debatable. We were talking about some city in Brooklyn. Now, you were born in Brooklyn, right?
Born in Brooklyn. Yes.
Oh, okay. We were talking about that. And I think part of our conversation got cut off. We were talking about Ebbets Field. So I won't go there. I was so off track. I was so embarrassed. Now, the infrastructure, roads, things, what I said to you about Egypt, I said, oh, can you see the pyramids from uh, from Cairo? You remember your response?
No, what was it?
Was, no, it's not. It's not visible, and I think you compared it to being perhaps in some part of Maryland and seeing the Washington Monument. Although the
Right.
Washington Monument
Right.
is not the
Right.
tallest structure in the world, when you see it, it's very imposing.
I
And,
remember that. Yeah.
and the pyramids of Giza, did I say it right? Giza?
Yes, sir.
And you've been there.
I have.
Are you planning on venturing forth again
No.
anytime soon?
No. No.
Really?
Yeah.
How far are you from there at this moment, you think?
It's about maybe a 8 hour, 6 hour, 8 hour plane ride.
Oh, well, you are currently in Mombasa.
I am.
Does the Indian Ocean lead to the river? What is the river by the pyramids? Or
The
is it by the
Nile.
pyramids? The Nile?
Yes, sir.
Is, is it any connection?
No, no,
Oh,
sir.
well, I need a map. If you get on a boat, you're near the Indian Ocean now, right?
Yes,
Can you see the Indian Ocean?
I can.
Tell us about it.
Well, the unique thing about the ocean is I can compare it. I've seen the Pacific, I've seen the Atlantic. The Indian Ocean is cleaner. And you know how when you approach like a beach town and you smell the sea?
Mm-hmm.
I don't smell the sea.
Mm.
There's no sea smell.
Wow. That is quite interesting.
Even in America, you go to some places, even a mile away, you can smell the sea.
Mm.
And I don't smell. I'll be right on. I could be right on the beach in at the Indian Ocean in Mombasa and don't smell the sea.
Mm. What kind of things are you seeing there? Any vendors? Any amusement type rides or what have you?
No, well, at least on this part, it's not. Boardwalks, and I
Mm-hmm.
haven't been to Coney Island and stuff like that, or Myrtle
Wait,
Beach, or
you just had to throw in your hometown, Coney
yeah,
Island, so very famous.
it's the first one that comes to mind, or
It
Rehoboth Beach,
should.
or Ocean City, Maryland,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
or Virginia Beach.
Oh,
Like,
that's
there's no
very famous.
Atlantic City.
Well,
The
okay.
boardwalks. There's no boardwalk. There's no, you know, not really. It's really just between the beach and the hotels
Mm-hmm.
or private properties,
Mm-hmm.
but not the kind of fireworks and the bells and whistles that you have in America, the commercialized. So it's really a lot more natural.
Oh, consumerism has not yet been the way there.
It is there, but it's a
Well,
little
tell us about.
less
Tell us
obvious.
about it.
I mean, you have the hotels again, you have vendors, you have people walking
Slow
around.
down. Oh, you're going to tell me the vendors are walking around selling
with
things to tourists.
Right,
So,
souvenirs. There's these people called the Maasai.
wait a minute. Wait a
Uh,
minute. Now, see, you touched the nerve there. They are not just people. Do you know the history of the Maasai?
no, I don't.
Great warriors.
Okay, okay,
Sir, go ahead. For our
yes, sir.
listeners can check it out. But yes, to my knowledge, they were great warriors.
Yes, sir. Very strong people. I agree.
Oh, yes,
So,
sir.
indeed. So great warriors on the souvenirs, bracelets, to attendees, I mean, to the tourists, the people that were there. You have people offering camel rides too.
Oh, my goodness. I'm not even going to ask you, did you avail yourself of a camel
No,
ride? Because you
no,
said when you
sir.
were, no. What do you have against camels?
There was the opportunity. I just it's not my thing. It's not my thing.
Did you take a picture with one even, standing in front of one?
No, sir.
I think you have a bias or maybe a phobia.
Against camels,
Sure.
no, nothing personal. It's a thing. But just not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't knock
Well,
anybody who does it.
yeah. I would think they are known as the what? The desert ship. They're quite resourceful. Have you
They
seen any
are.
horses around there?
I haven't seen any horses.
Oh. So if a person doesn't ride a camel, what do they ride?
A horse or a
But you,
donkey?
but I'm saying you haven't seen any.
I haven't.
Elephants. Have you seen any elephants?
I did actually. I did.
Mm-hmm. Walking
So
around, just chilling.
no. So I took the train. There is a train
Mm-hmm.
um, that goes from Nairobi to Mombasa,
Sure.
and part of that trip, during the last half of the trip, it goes through Savo National Park,
Yes, sir.
which is a wildlife reserve.
Mm-hmm.
So in that part of the train ride, I did see elephants and zebras and
Mm-hmm.
gazelles and antelopes.
Now, wait a minute. You actually know the difference between a gazelle and an antelope when you see them.
Um, I believe the antelopes are slightly bigger, but they were like they kind of just remind me of deer from back,
Oh,
you know. Yeah.
okay. Well, that's very interesting. The Maasai are a Nilotic ethnic group inhabiting, depending on where you're from, northern, central, and southern Kenya and northern Tanzania, and are
Hmm.
among the best known local populations internationally due to their residence near the many game parks of the African Great Lakes that you just mentioned.
Hmm.
Uh, that leads me to this. It says the Maasai population has been reported as numbering 1,189,522, but that's not. But their language, they can speak to you in Swahili and English. So what you said about being able to talk to somebody, okay. So what is the most important thing that you have learned? This is your first time being there in that general vicinity.
My first time, yes, sir.
What struck you most? You said it didn't have the fishy smell, which
Hmm.
means what to you?
Wow. So many things go through my mind. It's
Good.
just I don't even want to say because it's just,
Let
you
me
know.
say them for you. I've never been there. Maybe
Uh-huh.
you said clean. So is the grass really beautiful? Is it grassy? Is not dry? You know what's going on here, right? The the heat has dried up so much. 8, 9, maybe I think 11 states are under, this dire warning, and the smoke they say from the fires that are going on can be seen.
I heard.
Yes, sir. What's the temperature where you at, and is it their visibility?
There is visibility, and I haven't checked the temperature, but it's pleasant. It's not hot. It's not cold. It's
Hmm.
pleasant.
So you still think it's winter time there?
No, so Nairobi is in another zone, so
Oh my goodness!
it's colder than the coast.
What? You're by a body of water, and it's not cold.
No.
That's very interesting. When you were near the Atlantic, was it mostly cold when you were there or warmer?
So only thing I remember, I went to a high school that was really Brighton Beach, Brooklyn, and
Sure.
I'd have to take the train home and elevated platform,
Hmm.
and when that wind came through, it was the coldest part of Brooklyn because you could actually see the ocean, and when it was winter, it would. So I know it was colder.
Have you been to Coney Island during the winter time?
No, but Brighton Beach is like the next beach over from Coney Island.
Oh, no, I said Coney Island because the amusement park is fabulous during the summer. Did many people go there to your knowledge? Did you ever go there during the winter?
I've never been there during the winter.
Oh, it's just too cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What what other thing strikes you? You said the vendors, the hotels are very nice. Let me ask you this. Do they try to make it like a traditional look or just a Western look? How would you describe the architecture that you're seeing?
It's a mix. Mombasa is actually has a very interesting history. Without getting too much off into it, involved in the Arab slave trade.
Hmm.
So there's a good mix of Western and Arab Muslim history.
Oh, very interesting. Uh, you mentioned slavery
Hmm.
and you mentioned Arabs, and a lot
Hmm.
of people don't make a connection in Africa. We were victims of slavery from Arab enslavers. Do you think they sold us to the Europeans?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe.
Okay, okay. Well,
But I mean, not all of us is
yes,
of
sir.
course complicated, but
Uh,
part of that
we're
is
gonna
there.
get you to elucidate us and elucidate the situation. I think that means to shed light on it. What is the most important thing you'd like for the listeners to take about you being to your present location? And I think I wanted to say it was like a pilgrimage because you were so excited. It said it's not a pilgrimage, but you had always wanted to go to the Indian Ocean, right?
Right.
Now that you have done that, tell us your feeling, please, sir.
Just getting a bigger view of different culture, like when you go to Nairobi, you go to other places around the world, just being in there's more Western inclined. Place like Mombasa is otherworldly. Like it's so different, like between the Muslim influence, the Arab influence, a lot of Indian people. Is in the world outside of kind of like the Western Christian world. It's interesting to see how people just live their lives and process things and go about their lives. It gives you a real understanding of just being a human being at the end of the day.
Wow, that was very, I want to use a strange word, poignant. And for those who are listening, maybe it will strike a nerve. Very well spoken, sir. We have a little over a minute. We're approaching 29 minutes and we go to 30 unless you wanted to extend. But I think you might be trying to get out and get around. Have you been doing any sightseeing?
No, no. Well, I not like I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Time just got. It's been really reflective and meditative for more or less
Oh,
because
see,
it was a
I'm
full
sorry.
moon one
I have
night.
to interrupt. I
Uh,
told you it was a pilgrimage, and it sounds like you have gone there to renew and revive yourself.
it's the entire trip really. Western Kenya, Nairobi, now the coast. The entire thing is when you at a different stage of my life, so every day is kind of a reflective thing. I think from a natural standpoint, nights being there were nights that I could just kind of sit by the beach alone, the full
Hmm.
moon, just, reflect on what it means to be an Afro descendant, ask yourself some questions, um,
Okay.
and figure the path forward. So, yeah.
I think that'll be the topic of our next conversation. You will not only engage us with information of where you are, but that would be an excellent topic. So the next topic for Invisible Man Presents 733 on Afro Descendant Travels, we will hear Mr. Shahid Ali talk about what he just said, how he can sit out and look at the moon and think about actually being an Afro descendant. As we
Mhm.
close, here comes the music. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ali.